I hired a friend's daughter who was phenomenal with social media. And she also had an eye for design. And so I pitched to her to come work for me to handle the social media, but then I would help her get her interior designer certificate. And then she would work for me as a design coordinator as well. And so she loved that and she did that. Well, within 2 years, we literally became the most followed contractor on the Central Coast. And we had over 10,000 hours of video watched on Instagram alone in a 12-month period on year two. And so now it's just skyrocketing to where architects are following us and seeing our work. And they're reaching out to me, taking me to coffee, to lunch, wanting to give us their high-end clients.
Well, now you got to drop the handle. So how do people go follow you?
Build with Jam.
Build with Jam on Instagram, I'm assuming.
All across the board, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. And so now we have two staff members. And what they do is one day a week, they're dedicated to social media posts, platforms, monitoring the website, that kind of thing.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible. I'm joined by Mark Marshall, who is the president of JM Construction. And he is an industry veteran. He's been around for quite a while and has seen a lot. And so I'm really excited to kind of pick his brain. He also has kind of a corner on the market for the type of work that he does. So, Mark, I always start with the same question. Tell us a bit about who you are and how we got to where we are today.
So grew up in a construction family. Fourth generation. It was actually started in Pennsylvania and so California, 3 generations. So I come from a long line. I do have a degree in civil engineering from USC. And so it's been my lifeblood and taken different iterations throughout the years until I graduated from college. And that's when I really dove into the ownership project management side of the company, which I'm 30 years into that side of it, so it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. Well, tell us a bit about the type of work you guys do. What kind of projects do you work on? What kind of construction do you actually perform?
So we are 50-50 commercial residential. We're in a small market on the central coast of California. So we really technically have to take what the market will bear. And so, I mean, some years will be 80% commercial, some years 80% residential. So we have no ego. We will do whatever the customer wants. We will push them to have the best quality product that they can get for their budget. And then we'll push it beyond that to where we do a lot of cost analysis and value engineering. So we're able to upsell our clients on certain things if we can prove to them that it'll save them money in 3 to 5 years.
And so, we mentioned when we talked on the phone, you also mentioned you do quite a bit of water construction. Was it docks, or remind me kind of like what those projects look like?
Yes, we do that as well. Depending on the project, it either falls under residential or commercial. Insurance-wise, it falls under marine construction. And so we do have a Class A license to where we can build over water in California. You need to have a general engineering license to do that, not just a general contracting license. And so we'll do floating structures all the way up. Our largest one is about $400,000 dock with boat lifts, and we're lifting 8,000-pound boats out of the water, all off-grid, no high power. We're actually putting Starlinks on these docks with moving TVs and sound, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty slick. My IT department absolutely loves doing those things. So it's different. It's totally different. And these docks were on a reservoir, so these docks move in and out, left and right. And you can't connect them to a power connection on shore. So everything has to be self-contained on these floating structures.
I would imagine there's all sorts of, I was imagining just the challenges of building something in the water, let alone some of the IT stuff you just mentioned. So now I really want to learn more about this. So tell me about like a very typical project. Like who is it that finds you? What all goes into it? Now I've never talked to anybody that does this kind of work.
Yeah. So the first dock I built was in 1993 on that lake, and I did that personally. And over the years, you build a reputation to where now we do only high quality aluminum, commercial rated docks and floating structures. And so we represent one of the nation's largest aluminum dock manufacturer, who's
Hmm.
also owned by the world's largest steel and wood dock manufacturer back east. And so these docks are all engineered to the standards of oil fields in the Gulf of America. And so when they come out, it's people walk on these docks and they do not feel them moving at all. They're as solid as if you're sitting on a deck built onto a house.
Hmm.
But they're lifetime docks. So we've actually had clients that have moved into different communities on the lake, and even though they sell their lake house in one community, they won't sell the dock with it, and they have us move it because
It's like a floating man cave.
yeah, it's exactly right. That's the best way to describe it. And we've had the wives say, I'm only going to spend the day out there if I can, search the internet. So another one's I want to be able to watch my TV shows and, so I know we're setting up sound systems on Sonos. I mean, it's pretty spectacular. With Starlink has really made a lot of this possible for us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really cool. Put solar panels up on the roofs. But they're all aluminum. They're a lifetime dock, and
Yeah.
these people really put a lot into it, and we put a lot of thought into it. We have special ladders that go down for the dogs to be able to swim up to the dock and get off. And on the dock, we've got ladders that hinge down into where grandma doesn't have to pull her knees up to her chest to get in and out. Put water pumps on them to where they can hose things off. It's
Hmm.
just basically the budget is the main constraint, and that's the only thing that holds us back.
Hmm.
You know, we've done floating helicopter pads on two-story docks.
Yeah. Dang.
So
Mine would have a CrossFit gym on it. I'd have a whole setup out there to do some CrossFit stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
it's
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the commercial stuff you do out of curiosity. What kind of things are you doing? Restaurants, hospitals? What types of commercial buildings are you building?
yes to all those. Right now, we've got a lot of wineries, tasting rooms going. We're about to start a market, a general store in one of our local cities. We're gutting that commercial space right now. Um, we do student housing projects down in San Luis Obispo. Um, we just finished three escape rooms and a French pastry.
Hmm.
Uh, Very unique. That was a hell of a lot of fun. Um, so those are the pretty much commercial that's going on right now in this area. We are about to embark on some horizontals on some large developments that are It's got multifamily and it's got
Hmm.
hotel. It's got commercial space. It's got outdoor space. It's got amphitheaters. And then we're also breaking ground on an event center in San Luis Obispo
Hmm.
in about 2 months.
What how do you those clients find you? Is it just a standard RFP or RFQ and they reach out, or like how are these commercial opportunities coming your way?
So I've got an unintended consequence to a decision that was made 3 years ago. I hired a friend's daughter who was phenomenal with social media, and she also had an eye for design. And so I pitched to her to come work for me to handle the social media, but then I would help her get her interior designer certificate, and then she would work for me as a design coordinator as well. And so she loved that and she did that. Well, within 2 years, we literally became the most followed contractor on the Central Coast. And
Hmm.
we had over 10,000 hours of video watched on Instagram alone in a
Hmm.
12-month period on year two. And so now it's just skyrocketing to where architects are following us and seeing our work. And they're reaching out to me, taking me to coffee, to lunch, wanting to give us their high end clients.
Well, now you got to drop the handle. So how do people go follow you?
Uh, Build with Jam
Build with Jam
across
on Instagram, I'm assuming.
all across the board: Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. And so now we have two staff members. And what they do is one day a week, they're dedicated to social media posts, platforms, monitoring the website, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I did not know that that would come, but I thought that I get clients and that I'm getting architecture firms, which is a much better, stream. And so now we're one of two bidding on these high end projects. both commercial and residential.
Uh, that's amazing. So just always helps the audience to understand just kind of overall sales over the last 12 months or last year. What was your guys' kind of top line?
So for the last 12 months, counting now, we'll be at about 10 million.
10 million. Okay. And you said it's 50-50 right now, but some years it's 80-20, 60-30, 70-40, or 70-30. Um, what are some sticking points that you feel like you're experiencing right now? What are some of the big things that not necessarily keep you up at night, but problems you're trying to solve or barriers in your business you're trying to break through?
Yeah, I would be up to 12 to 14 million if we didn't have extreme delays in permitting.
Okay.
So that's typically our biggest problem right now is, a delay or redesign, those type of things because the county and some of the cities take so long. I'm talking 8 to 12 weeks just to re-review something, you
Yeah.
know, before they even look at it. And, a lot of these clients, I mean, we just started a house that when they bought the lot and they started the process, they're at 4 years in a
Yeah.
development, in a lot that's got everything stubbed into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what have you figured out any hacks or any unique ways to kind of handle that? Is it, getting the permit office, someone to kind of know, like, and trust you there? Do you have any tips or tricks for anybody else that might have that issue?
So I used to have that, but we're having tremendous turnover. And so what I've done is I'll walk in with the preliminary plans and try to schedule a meeting with the head inspector, the head of the building permit, and I will lay out the plans and I'll say, hey, what else do you want on these plans to where you can keep this either an in-house review or, we won't have small, stupid corrections when you outsource it. So in our area, a lot of the building departments will actually outsource the plan check. And
Hmm.
that is where things get bogged down. And so I will walk in and say, hey, how can I do this project where it's small enough for you to either do this in house or what additional things you want to see on these plans that aren't here to help smooth over and speed up the process where they outsource their building plans.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I've been able to get commercial TIs in the city of Atascadero approved in 3 weeks by doing it
Hmm.
that way
Hmm.
instead of 12 to 14.
Let's talk about AI for a second. How are you using it now, and where do you feel like you could be using it?
Oh, so we use AI a lot. So we're using AI in Company Cam. So my superintendents actually will speak into the phone and take pictures, and it will populate reports with materials to purchase, with punch lists and all of that, all by speaking into the phone and punching photos. I use it. What else do I use it in? Gosh, you name it. Um, we use it on social media posts. So we run it through 3 different AIs to actually make it more human and realistic. They'll do that there. We're using them for remedial tasks. I actually have Grok send me every Thursday morning a very, very specific paragraph that I've set on what I'm looking for. So I go do a deep search into construction news for the last 7 days related to the state of California and give me, focus on permits, you know, um, material costs, labor costs, delays, things shipping to us, and give me other advice on how to manage a construction company, with the finances and foreseeing the future, something like that. And I haven't put it actually now into a newsletter format. And so every Thursday morning, I will get this thing, and it is so specific, and it scours 50 to 60 sources for me, and it pairs it all down. And it's in a newsletter format to where I can share it with my superintendents and my PEs and PMs. But now we are starting to do newsletters on the website and blog posts using that.
Gotcha. Um,
And
okay.
that's a lot
Have
of
you got?
resources. That's a lot of resources that I don't have time to look at.
Yeah.
Just create.
Have you guys started to? Have you built out any AI agents to automate anything in your business?
So two things on that. Notebook LM we use, and what we do is we put in all the permit plans and all the permits. and all the Title 24 documents and everything that's required on a project. And I share it with my superintendent and PE on the project. And what we're able to do is we can search how many windows and doors do we have on this project. And it literally will go through it and say, this is how many you have in this building, this is how many you have in this building. But the Title 24 says you have this many. And so there's a discrepancy of two windows, and so within 30 seconds. And so we'll take that and double check the counts from the window supplier, the interior door supplier, and that kind of thing. And so Title 24, what kind of special inspections do we need to do? And so it'll actually say these special inspections are needed at these points, as well as end of project special inspections as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's with Notebook LM, whatever you put in that folder, it's very, very specific. And so we have another one on the California Building Code. We have another one for different city standards and special codes for the city, where we just search in what's the egress requirements on a loft, 1,200 square feet, and within 30 seconds, we have the answer. So it's pretty amazing. Absolutely.
Where do you feel like you could be using AI that you're not?
Our ERP solution, we use Premiere, and they're about 3 months from coming out from an AI to where you just ask it a question, and then it'll do job forecasting, cash flow analysis, and that kind of thing, instead of having to go to specific reports and try and modify them.
Yeah.
But that is
all right. The typical pain points, Mark, that we hear are estimation, project management, and skilled labor. Let's talk about skilled labor for a second. It seems like it's pretty hard to find skilled labor, across the country. Have you guys figured out some sort of a process to get good contractors or to perform the work?
Yeah, so since we've been here for 30 years, we have subs that some will come in the area they won't even bid to. And we've been here so long, we have vetted so many subs that we only have a handful that we would work with per phase, and some phase down to 2 or 3. So that's the one thing. Skilled labor for our self-perform stuff.
Yeah.
We literally have gone into our own training program and are growing people in finished carpentry, light framing, painting, tiling, some of the things where it's hard to get good quality. And so we're actually training our own in-house guys to handle all that.
Cool.
That will control it. And I've got like 6 guys that are under 23 that are hungry, love it. They're learning. They're making more money than their friends are, and they're killing it. It's phenomenal.
Well, what's one thing we haven't talked about today, Mark, that gets you fired up? What's something that, either a hot take, a hack that you've learned in business, a business principle, something faith related? The floor is yours.
Okay. So, it's interesting. One of the, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I haven't been afraid to try. So what I would say is don't be afraid to try something new to help you be more efficient. Some of them suck and they're going to fail. And the only thing I wish I would have done better was take a little longer to vet some of these programs that I tried to implement before implementation. So I've invested a lot of money and failed pretty hard on some of that technology. The other thing, let me see what else. What else have I learned? Yeah.
What's an example? I mean, you got me thinking now. Like, what's an example? Because I talk to a lot of contractors, and I wouldn't say they're the most eager to adopt new technologies. In fact, one thing that I've realized is that they don't like changing their tech stack. That's one thing I've seen is if they're using Procore or whatever, you could present them with a better solution. They're going to stick to what they have because they don't want to jack it up. So,
Yeah.
what are some things that you've tried that you feel like have helped you be more efficient?
Yeah, so we were the first to bring CoConstruct to the area, which is Buildertrend. Buildertrend bought that, and we used Buildertrend for a long time. The scheduling was horrible in Buildertrend, and frankly, you don't on all those platforms. You don't have a true cost of labor, overhead, burdens, all that kind of thing. And then we went to Procore when we started doing apartment complexes, and it was so cumbersome that after those we dropped it. And I live in Procore country. Procore's 45 minutes, headquarters 45 minutes from where we're located.
Yeah.
And we ended up going over to Autodesk Build, And that has been, for us, a game changer. It's much more simplistic to use. And so that's, we've done that, but I've spent a lot of money between all those other programs, because I prepay for a year. I don't do monthly. Um, but well, our ERP solution is probably the best thing we've ever done. Premier Construction Software. By far, if you're willing to drop 30K on implementation and about another 15 grand a year to do it, you literally have your costs broken down to the penny. Overhead, cost of goods, all of it is phenomenal. And we paired that with Lumber HR. Lumber HR is where everybody clocks in and out. And that right there, you put in everything, and from burdens, the whole 9 yards, man, I can tell you what every single employee cost me to the dollar, to the penny, actually. And so it helps me when we started seeing a little slowdown in the economy. I started dropping our rates where we charge everybody so that we're on the lower end just to keep everybody busy. And then the jobs started coming, and then we slowly creep them back up. So I'm an engineer. My degree is in civil engineering. So I love math. And so those are the best programs I can say out there. I'm not a Procore fan. A lot of the subcontractors in our area hate it. And so they're more willing to adapt to Autodesk Build than they are Procore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mark, if people want to learn more about who you are and what you do, where can they go?
I just hit the website. It's got everything on it, jmconstruction.com.
Cool. Well, don't go anywhere. I want to keep chopping it up with you, but thanks so much for joining, guys. Go check them out on all the things social, Facebook, Instagram. And Mark, thanks for letting us pick your brain a bit today.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew.